Well, I had 3.5 acres and I started asking questions because I knew that this was part of the original Thozet area. And what I found was interesting was that a lot of people have a lot of affection for the Thozets, but when you try and find out the facts, there's not a lot of facts out there. You tend to find myths and legends more than facts. And so, being curious, I just started digging. And then I had Professor Kerry Walsh from CQU contact me because they have got a building out there and they wanted to see if there was an image of Thozet they could use to have a bust created. And I'd had a couple of other people contact me who had grown up around here in the past. So I went back to them and said, do you know anything of an image that we could use? And that was where it all snowballed from. They sort of started sending the word out amongst the people that they knew, and a couple of people did remember the pen and ink sketch that used to hang in the School of Arts building, which seems to have disappeared. So they just started asking, word of mouth went out from there. And then a group of people with an interest in Thozet just sort of self-assembled, I suppose is the best way to put it, because there are people out there who've been interested for a while, and people have been doing a little bit of work on their own, but getting everyone together has allowed us obviously to pull more information into one spot. That's why we've got the website, so we can archive it. We know that he was one of the first people here when the Cunningham gold rush occurred, so he came back to Rocky. He built the second pub in Rockhampton, the Alliance, and then from there they just became members of the community. They took a very active role in the community, so things like they were involved in charitable institutions, raising funds for children's hospitals, the Mothers Hospital, that sort of thing. They were heavily involved in the Separation League to have the northern half of Queensland separated off from the southern half, those sorts of things. Well, he was involved in the establishment of the Rockhampton Botanic Gardens. He was also involved in the establishment of the old Rockhampton Southside Cemetery, and he sent plants up to Queen's Gardens in Townsville, which is listed on the Queensland Heritage Register. And that listing actually mentions Muirville as being a significant part of Queensland's history. We know that Thozet was the first person to introduce mangoes into Queensland, into Australia, sometime in the 1860s. We know that Madame Thozet commented in 1922 that they were still here after 60 years growing very well. We know also that this area was part of the big mango plantation that they had. Even as late as the early 1920s there was a large mango plantation here which covered a large part of this area of Kalka. So yeah, the mango trees have been here for a long time. They've been a significant part of this area. Well, there's Thozet Road and Thozet Creek, and Frenchville itself is named for him, Frenchman's Creek. I'm told there was a Thozet Bridge, which I think is the crossing over Thozet Creek. And there's also, for many years, there was Thozet's Landing, because he was supposed to have a jetty at the bottom end of the creek that he would commute from the home to the Alliance Hotel, and the landing that was there was just called Thozet's Landing for many years. So they're the things that I can think of. But there's a number of plants, for example, around that have been named for him, and that gives you an idea of how well thought of he was in the botanical world.